welcome back to Social Impact Live. I'm your host, Darrell Coleman, and today we are starting a new series, a 5-part series on the 5 mistakes that reduce the impact of social enterprises. I am excited to bring this series to you because what I found over time is that there are a lot of social enterprises, social ventures that are doing good work out in the world or trying to do good work out in the world. I've met with so many founders and executive directors of nonprofits, so many founders and CEOs of for-profit social ventures who have all of their intentions in the right place, but who often still end up making the same mistakes that reduce the level of impact that they can create. So my hope with this series is to bring you the 5 big ones that I've seen so that you can avoid making them yourself. So with that, let's get started. The very first thing that I've noticed, the first mistake that I've noticed that social enterprises make as they seek to create change in the world is a lack of understanding of the people that they're serving. And if you've been following me on this channel for any length of time, then you know that this is something that I speak about often. The core of good social change, of really making an impact in someone's life that matters, that where you're not wasting your time, you're not wasting their time, you're not leading them down paths that aren't helpful, you're not lying to yourself and believing that you're making an impact where you're not. The very core of all of that is a process or a concept called empathy, which is the understanding that we need to really be in community, be in relationship with the people who we are aiming to serve, who we're seeking to serve, in order to understand what's going to have the biggest impact on their life, understand what they've already tried, understand what hasn't worked so far, understand what fits into the nuances of the particular situations that they're dealing with. And a lot of social entrepreneurs, innovators, people who run social organizations, I think, come to this conclusion that because they are trying to serve so many people, the individual relationships actually aren't as important. But this is one of the big mistakes that I see people make, and it basically comes down to creating a generalized group of people who you think you're serving, where you think you understand what their issues are, but you can't call out the specific names of specific people within that group who experience the challenge in a particular way. And without the ability to do that, it's really hard to understand all of the different facets of a solution that you need to provide. So the solution that you end up creating ends up becoming something that's really general, kind of meets a few needs. Maybe it captures the needs of a subgroup within the population that you're targeting. You might find in this situation that you are getting some results, but they're not as stellar as you'd like them to be. You might find that there are some people who are really excited about this, but you're not sure why they're so excited and why others are completely unexcited about what you have to offer. You might find that your solution doesn't seem to create a lasting outcome in anyone's life, and that some people might be coming back over and over again, but aren't actually progressing to the place that they want to get to, or the place that your solution was designed to get them to. So these are all of the sort of symptoms that you'll start to notice if this is you. You'll also generally experience within yourself a lack of clarity about your ability to go deep beyond one level into the problem. So we'll talk about, you can see the problem from a surface level where you say, okay, well, here's the issue overall. And you might even be able to describe, well, why is that a problem for people? And you've got the answer to that question. But whenever it comes down to, well, why is that really a problem for people? Like, what are they trying to accomplish? Or whenever you try to answer, how does that show up in their life? Or what's keeping them from getting to that solution itself? You start running into blank answers, or you find yourself making things up. If that's you, then the lack of empathy is probably the reason for why you can't answer those questions better. So the solution to this is ultimately to dive in deeper with the people who you are working with. Recognize that social impact, social change is not about us over here and the other over there. It is about us together actually moving somewhere as a group. And if you see yourself as outside of the group that you're serving, it's going to be hard for you to make the type of impact that you need to serve. If you find those points of commonality, but also form direct and deep relationships, or I should say commonality that comes through direct and deep relationships, then you're better able to move to where you need to move to. So the practical advice for you would be to identify 5 to 10 people who are within the group that you want to serve, and just go have conversations with them, deep conversations. Like an hour-long conversation. Could be 30 minutes if you only have that. Could be an hour and a half if you've got more. But have a conversation with them to understand more about their life, who they are, and how they're experiencing the challenge that you are facing. The challenge that they are facing and that you are working to help them overcome. Understand the nuances of that. Understand how they feel about your solution, and gather that feedback, not from a point of defensiveness, but from a point of you really want to make it better, and so you need to know what's broken. Okay? So go out and have those conversations, and what you're going to start to do is you're going to start to hear similar themes across different people. You'll hear a few things that one person says that are really unique to that individual, but also a few things that you hear someone else say also. And so you'll start to find out, okay, there are some common elements between people, and then there are also these distinct pillars of experience or of perspective that are different for each person. And those pillars are going to be things that you want to pay attention to, because your solution either needs to hit all of them, or it needs to really focus in on a few so that you know who you're catering to. But it also needs to hit that general band of things that you heard about that were consistent. All right. So do that with a few people to start with. I would say start with 5. Once you get going on that, it may be easier for you to begin talking to more people, and develop that first piece of empathy. I like to say that if you are working on a social impact issue, if you're a government, a foundation, a nonprofit, if you're an individual, doesn't matter. If you don't have the names and phone numbers of 5 people who are experiencing the challenge that you are working to address, if you can't call someone up and say, hey, what do you think about this? Then you are not close enough to the issue. You have not developed the empathy that you need. If you have to feel a great hesitancy to do so, then you are not close enough to the issue, and need to develop those relationships again. And we need to recognize also that relationships are renewable, as in, people that you might be serving might not be the same people you're serving a year from now. I mean, hopefully they're moving to new places in life as well. So that's our first mistake. Mistake number 1 is a lack of empathy for those who you are serving, and to remedy that is to begin to create deeper social impact. If you found this helpful, go ahead and hit the like button. That really helps out a lot. Lets me know which content resonates with you and which ones don't. If you think that these videos are useful overall, go ahead and hit that subscribe. And I will be back tomorrow with the next episode in this series about the 5 mistakes that social entrepreneurs and enterprises make as they are trying to create social change in the world. All right, I'll see you later.